Alright guys, it's time for my Xbox 360 library. This is actually one of the largest libraries in my collection, so sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let me know if you've played any of these games. This is one of my favorite systems of all time, definitely my favorite Xbox console ever. I have a lot of great memories playing this throughout the years, and I'm still checking out new games all the time on the 360 and adding more and more into the collection, so show you guys what I have. Starting with the 2006 FIFA World Cup game. I love these World Cup games. I have all the ones that were released as their own thing, and I wish EA still did this, but now they kind of package the World Cup games in with FIFA as like an update or something. That one's a decent game. Followed up by the 2010 FIFA World Cup game. This is a great game. Maybe the best of the ones on the 360. I put a ton of hours into all three of these World Cup games on the 360. My friend and I would play these quite frequently and try to win the World Cup and all that. And then 2014 World Cup in Brazil. This is a wonderful one as well. Again, I wish that EA still made these games, but unfortunately they just don't anymore. But you can still play the old ones and enjoy them. This next game really needs no introduction from me, but it is my favorite game of all time, and that is Alan Wake. What can I say? The first time I played this game, I fell in love with it, and I've beaten it like 6 or 7 times since. For me, there's no better video game out there than this one. It is phenomenal, and an experience every gamer should take part in, because it is just a great game. It's a must-have on the 360. Here's a great game, Alice Madness Returns. This is like a 3D platforming action game and a dark, twisted version of Alice in Wonderland. So awesome, highly underrated, I think, is this game, and definitely one that you should check out if you have a 360 or even like a PS3. I believe it's on PC as well. Just a phenomenal game. And if you beat the game, you unlock the original game for American McGee's Alice game. So this is actually the second in the series. Next we have Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel. I played one of these Army of Two games back in the day. I can't remember which one. Don't think it was this one. This one I recently picked up for a few bucks. Remember it being pretty fun though, the games. Here is an awesome game, and that's Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. I still remember the night this came out. I was anticipating going to GameStop to pick up my pre-order. I was so excited because I'm a big fan of the series, and whereas this game is completely different from the old ones, I still really like this one. When I initially played it, I thought it was great, but I didn't love it. I did enjoy it, but now I replayed it years later and finished it, and I gotta say, I absolutely love this game. I think it's way better than people give it credit for. The detail and the graphics in this game are just phenomenal. There's so much that you can do. I think the hub world of Showdown Town is the greatest hub world I've ever seen in a video game, because it's just so fun to explore and so nice to look at. The only thing where I think this game really fails is the lack of levels and some of the level design. I don't think there's enough levels in it, but I don't mind the vehicle crafting, and it kind of works for this type of game. So it's actually my second favorite Banjo-Kazooie game behind the original. I do like it more than Tooie. I just think it's a great game, and I think it gets overlooked because it's different from the original ones. Here's an excellent game, Batman Arkham Asylum. You really can't go wrong with these Arkham games, can you? I did play through this one before. I have not streamed it though, but awesome game. Great performance by Mark Hamill. Here is another excellent 360 game. I'm going to be saying that a lot because there's so many good ones. Bioshock Infinite. This is the reversible cover that I have in there. I've played a little bit of the first Bioshock and a tiny bit of the second one, but I finished this one. I gotta say, I absolutely fell in love with this one, and I'm looking forward to revisiting this sometime, as it is such a good game. Here's another great game, Borderlands 2. Probably my favorite of the Borderlands games thus far that I've played. I just spent many hours grinding through this game to finish it up, and absolutely loved it. Borderlands 2. Here's another underrated. Here's a bit of a, I think, a hidden gem, if you will, for the 360. And that's Brink, a Bethesda game. Not a lot of people talk about this game. I, for one, enjoyed this game. I played this game quite a bit with my brother when it came out back in the day. We would play some, multiplayer and stuff, and just play some matches, and you could do like the story and stuff. I never got too far in the story. We kind of just played for fun a lot, but enjoyed it for what it was. I like the art style of the game, and I think the gameplay is pretty fun. Still fun to this day. Here's a pretty cool third-person action shooter, Bulletstorm. This game is wild. It really takes you on an action-packed journey. If you like action games, then you gotta play this one because it is crazy. It's like pretty fast-paced, and just wild stuff happens in that game. Here's a recent pickup for a few dollars. Actually, I get a GameStop. I found this game, and that's Burnout Paradise. I don't think I've played this one yet, so really cool to have a Burnout game in the collection. Next, we have a thrift store pickup, Call of Duty Ghost. Haven't really played this one yet. I did check out a little bit of the alien mode, or whatever it is. It's like zombies, but you're fighting aliens, I think, just to like test out the game. Here is a must-play game as well, Castlevania Lords of Shadow. This is such a good game. It's a, how do I say this? Like kind of like a, God of War type of game, I guess. Action game. It's a long game. It's pretty hard at times. It's a beautiful game to look at. The combat is really, really awesome. So I'd say it could be my favorite Castlevania game that I've tried up to this point. I want to check out the sequel at some point, but this is such a good game that I think everybody needs to check out. Castlevania Lords of Shadow. It's a phenomenal game. So I got a long way to go. Next we have Sid Meier's Civilization Revolution. I haven't checked this one out. I've seen good things about this, so this isn't really a type of game that I play very much. These like strategy type of games, but it's nice to have this in the collection. Definitely have to check that out. Here's a game I put many and many hours into, staying up late with friends, playing this game co-op. This is probably one of my favorite basketball games ever to be released, and that's College Hoops 2K8. A game that's worth some money right now, but this game still holds up. It is so freaking good, and the best part about this was you can create your own college. So we would create our own college and put ourselves on the team and friends and stuff, so the whole team would be people that we know. We'd make us all freshmen, so we'd have 4 years basically to try and win like an NCAA championship, and we would build up our our stats or whatever. The more you'd play, your players would get better throughout the year, and it's so fun to do a couple seasons here and there, and I think we did end up winning an NCAA championship at one point, and it was just amazing. I think we won by like 1 point or something. It was crazy. And March Madness was always fun to take part in. The presentation in this game is phenomenal. The depth. If you want the real college basketball experience, this is it. This is just such an awesome game. Can't tell you how many hours I put into that. Crazy amount. Crisis 2, a very good first-person shooter and a very good graphic game. At the time, I thought this was probably one of the best graphics I'd ever seen, especially in a first-person shooter. So I haven't checked that one out in a while. I'll have to revisit that one. Here's a recommendation to me, and one that I did pick up and I haven't checked out yet, Dante's Inferno. We'll have to see if that one's any good. Another recommendation from a viewer on YouTube, and this was The Darkness. I quite like this game. It was different. I wouldn't say it was anything I loved or say it was like a favorite of mine, but it was definitely worth playing. There's some impressive things to this one. I'll have to check out The Darkness too at some point. Here is a good hidden gem and a game I've loved since it came out, and that is Dark Void from Capcom. I think this game is getting overlooked still. I remember when this game was announced, I was so excited for it. I think it was like an E3 or something. It was like announced, and I was like, oh, that looks cool. Flying around jetpack, combat all over. You can just combat on the ground, combat in the air. And then you didn't hear about it for a while, and then it like kind of just came out. I think I had this pre-ordered, and I really like this game, and still to this day, I played it a few years ago on the channel. It still holds up well. It's fun. It's got a nice little story to it, so enjoyable game for sure. Dark Void. Definitely check it out because it's a really cheap game, and I think it's worth playing for sure. Definitely like probably a hidden gem for me. Here's Dead Island, a decent zombie game from Deep Silver. Kind of want to check out the sequel to see if it's any better. I never got too far in this game though. Here's the beginning of a really great series. We got Dead Space, of course, a phenomenal game. My favorite of the three, Dead Space 2. And of course we have a very good game as well, Dead Space 3. Some people didn't like this one. I did. I enjoyed the co-op in it, and I thought the playthrough was definitely worth checking out. But Dead Space 2, definitely my favorite of the three. Here is another game I put many hours into, and this game kept me company one summer, just staying up late and just playing this game literally till the sun came up. The only really MMO I got into, and that's Defiance. You know, I like the show, but this was the game. Man, I put so many hours into this. I loved exploring and just teaming up with random people that were in the server, you know, just running around. It was fun. I had so much fun playing this game. I'm so sad that the servers are shut down and you can't play this game at all anymore. This is basically a paperweight or a coaster at this point, but I'm gonna always keep this game around to remind me of the good times I have. I actually did record footage of my final ever session in this game the day the servers were shutting down. Maybe I'll post that to YouTube someday, because I do have it. But sadly, you know, I played this game way before I ever started streaming, so... But I did record my final footage of it a couple years ago or so when they shut down the servers. Man, I have such good memories of this game. I would put this game in my top 200 easily of all time. It's just very sad that I can't play it anymore. I really wish that they would just allow you to go and play the game still, but not having, even without a server, just go in and play and do everything by yourself. Because you can play the game by yourself, you know, you can easily do missions alone, because I was doing a lot of missions alone, and just maybe even set up a private server if you wanted to. But I would really wish they would open the game back up for you to just play on your own and just do the story if you want and just explore, because I would totally do that and still put in probably tons of hours, because that game's really dear to me. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee here. Here's another phenomenal game, Deus Ex Human Revolution. Phenomenal RPG action game with a lot of stealth to it. I love the music, I love the atmosphere of this game. Pretty much a 10 out of a 10. It is pretty hard, but phenomenal game. Here's a series I haven't checked out yet, but I bought these games for combined like $4, I think. And that's Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age 2 for the 360. So I'll have to check those out at some point. Here's a really good dungeon crawler, another hidden gem for me on the 360. That's Dungeon Siege 3. Man, this is a great game from Square Enix. If you like dungeon crawling games, you'll probably love this game. It's from Bethesda, it's from Square Enix, but look at Obsidian right there. You see that Obsidian logo, if it focuses. Yeah, this is a really good one. Definitely a hidden gem. I can't wait to revisit this game on the channel and play it. Really, really fun game. Probably one of my top dungeon crawlers I've ever played, honestly. We have Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon. Super fun game to co-op and just, you know, silly, goofy times, shooting big insects. You know, it's kind of like a horde-based game. So it's a lot of fun. You got these big open areas to run through, destructible buildings. That's a hell of a good time. Here's a good game, Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two. A nice 3D platforming action game. I don't know if it's as good as the first one, but it's still a really good game. That game is also co-op too. Here is a really good RPG that the viewers had recommended to me, and that's Eternal Sonata. My goodness, what a good RPG! If you want to sit down and get lost in RPG in the 360, this is a must-play. The music, the graphics, the story, the gameplay, everything about this game is so freaking good. I just had a hell of a time playing this game. Bandai Namco. It is a wonderful RPG. Here's another RPG, Fable 3. Haven't played any of the Fable games yet, so I found this one in a thrift store for I think like $2. So I picked it up because I eventually want to check out some of the Fable games. So there's the third one, so I have that one. Here is probably the greatest 360 game and a must-play, Falling Skies the game. I don't know, this is a strategy action game, kind of like XCOM. Honestly, it's okay. It's not that bad. Like, it's pretty jank and it's not great, but I checked it out one night and it's not bad. And I found it for $5 in a game shop. I bought it as a joke because, the fact that this game even exists is pretty funny. But it's honestly not that bad of a game. If you like strategy games, you should probably check it out. The only thing that's holding me back from playing it more is I've heard that it's a really long game, like 40 hours plus, and I'm like, why? Why does that game need to be so long? So I'm kind of like not really inspired to get back into it because I don't want to put that many hours into that game. Here's a game that everybody talks about, Fallout New Vegas. Everybody talks about how great this game is. I have not played it yet. This is another thrift store pickup. Is it going to live up to all the hype that people surround it with? I don't know. I haven't played too much of the Fallout series, only a little bit of 4. So, we'll see if this one is as good as everybody says it is. Here's another game that I used to spend a lot of hours in, and a game I would play till the sun came up. I used to play this game online back in the day, and I'd play this with my friend for hours and hours till like 4 in the morning, and that's FIFA Street 2012. Great game. It does have its problems, but it's it's definitely fun. There's some really fun modes to it, and we used to create teams and go for it in like the story mode or whatever, World Tour mode, whatever it's called. But yeah, I would play this online too, till the sun came up, playing against people online, and it was so fun. I didn't play a lot of games online back then, but this is one of the ones that I definitely sunk a lot of hours into. So this game I definitely owe a lot to because, again, it was one summer again, I believe, or springtime that it kept me a lot of company, just staying up late and playing that game. Here is a series very dear to me as well, and it is Gears of War. Gears of War 1, phenomenal game. Gears of War 2, another great game. And my favorite, Gears of War 3. When this game came out, this is when I checked out the Gears of War series, actually. Right when this game came out. I remember me and my brothers all pre-ordered this and got it the same night. We brought it home and played together, and it was so freaking fun. And then we would spend many nights playing Horde mode together with a friend of ours, all 4 of us, and just enjoying the hell out of it. I think the Horde mode in this game is the best in any video game ever that I've played. And the campaign was just so good. I mean, this is just a great game. As you can see above my wall here, if I zoom the camera up, I have a Gears of War 3 little canvas there, print above there, that I'd found in a store because of how much I love this game. So definitely my favorite of the Gears games, and I just love the Gears series, all 5 games. Even Judgment I kind of liked. The campaign was decent, but I didn't love that one. I actually don't have Judgment anymore. Alright, well that's one pile. Moving on, guys, we still have a lot to go here. Hopefully you guys aren't checked out on me yet, but we have G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra. This is a decent game. I gotta say, this was a fun, action run and gun kind of style game. It is co-op. It is pretty hard though. I would advise putting on the easiest difficulty if you're playing by yourself. But yeah, definitely a hidden gem. I haven't even seen the movie. I'm not even that big of a fan of G.I. Joe, but I thought the game was a lot of fun. Definitely worth it. It's got like a very good arcade feel to it too, run and gun arcade feel. So I'd say it's definitely worth playing. Here's a thrift store buy, Grand Slam Tennis 2. Have not checked this one out yet, but I do like tennis and tennis games, so I'll have to check that out. Next we have another hidden gem of mine, Green Lantern Rise of the Manhunters. I know a lot of you are saying, or all of you are saying, the movie sucks, right? I actually like the movie. I'm kind of weird like that. I actually think the movie's not that bad. I enjoy it for what it is. But the game is actually really fun. It's a action kind of beat 'em up game with some kind of like a shmup kind of sections to it where you're flying around shooting things. It's also co-op. The whole game is co-op as well. So your teammate plays as Sinestro. Also, it's in 3D. So you can play this game in 3D. All you gotta do is put on 3D mode and throw on these amazing 3D glasses, and you can play the game in 3D. And it actually looks pretty cool playing it in 3D, I gotta say. But yeah, this is a really fun game. You know, if you don't like the movie, whatever, check out the game. It's definitely a fun kind of beat 'em up type of game. There's some really cool like upgraded moves that you can get. You know, with the lantern, with the ring, I mean, to create these awesome projectiles to attack people with. Right, here is the Halo game that got me into Halo, and that's Halo 3. This is the first Halo game I ever checked out. When I bought it, I was like, you know what, let me check out Halo. Let me see what the fuss is all about. I really wasn't interested in the series too much. I just figured I'd try one. But when I played Halo 3, I was like, oh, this is why everybody loves these games. And I thought it was just an awesome playthrough. And then I was kind of hooked on Halo ever since. So this might be my favorite Halo game of all of them, just because that's the one that really kind of reeled me in. We have Halo 4. Pretty good game. Not one of the best ones, but pretty good. And then here's a good one. I think Halo Reach here is actually a really good game. I really like the campaign in this one. Looking forward to checking that one out again. Next we have another little hidden gem, and that's Hunted the Demon's Forge. This is another Bethesda game. So this is one I had back in the day. I had to like rebuy this, but it's a split-screen co-op game. Kind of like, I don't know, it's like, kind of like a beat 'em up with like, it's a third-person action game with like, I think there's a cover system if I remember correctly. I don't know. I haven't played it in so long, but I remember it being pretty fun. It's got kind of like horror fantasy vibes to it. I'm gonna have to definitely stream this sometime and like revisit it, because I remember it being pretty awesome and not a game that many people ever really talk about. Here's another one I found at a GameStop for a couple bucks, and that's Infinite Undiscovery. I'll have to check this out. Square Enix RPG. Here's another hidden gem. So many on the 360, and that is Inversion. This is definitely a good playthrough. If you're a fan of Gears of War, you probably want to check out this game. It's a poor man's Gears of War, but there's like gravity mechanics, so you're kind of like floating at times, and you can manipulate objects with it. So it's really cool, interesting combat. It's different. You know, it plays a lot like a Gears of War game, so it'll feel familiar in that sense. It's not as polished, so don't expect Gears of War going into it, but if you like that style of game, you'll probably really like this. And it's definitely a game worth checking out. I really like that game. Oh gosh, here we have the worst game on the 360, and definitely one of the worst video games ever. This might be the worst video game I've ever played in terms of how it functions and what it is. It's down there with Catwoman. That's all I'm gonna say at the very least. And that's Jumper, Griffin's Story. This was a game I bought for a couple bucks, thinking, you know what, it probably can't be that bad, right? It's a licensed game. The movie's like okay. Oh my gosh, this game's so bad. Where to even begin? There is a lack of level design, where every screen is pretty much the same thing. Basically, all it is you walk into a room, you fight a bunch of guys. You walk to another room, fight a bunch of guys. Walk to another room, fight a bunch of guys. All the same type of enemies. but the combat's so bad and so poorly designed that like you just take damage left and right. Like there's no real good dodge button. You can't really block anything. They have projectiles and guns. You do not. So you're at a disadvantage the whole way through. It's so janky. You know, I've gotten some crazy glitches playing this game. The final boss is impossible because the damage that he does. Like the combat, I can't even explain how hard it is to actually like be successful in the combat in this game, the way it works. Because like if you hit the wrong button in terms of where you're facing, like the enemy just goes through your attacks. So it's like kind of like a rhythm thing, but there's no rhythm to it. Because depending on how your character's facing, you have to hit the right button, you know, from where the character's facing you, like your opponent, like A, B, X, Y. And it's so hard to decipher that in the heat of the action because you're flying around all over trying to dodge and run around. There's like 15 enemies coming at you, so it's impossible. Also, like, I'm not even kidding, like 60% of the time, I don't even know which character is mine on the screen. They all look the same. So I'm jumping around, hitting buttons, and I don't even know which guy is me. Everybody's just, it's just so bad. And you're picking up items, they don't even tell you what they are. So you're picking up items not even knowing what it is. There's no way to even know. There's no like inventory screen. It's just, it's barely even a game. I could go on and on about that game. It's just, it's so bad. It's the worst, one of the worst video games I've ever played. Next we have Kinect Adventures. I got a couple Kinect games. I do have the Kinect. And Kinect Star Wars as well. I haven't really played much of this game yet. I only tried it out briefly, so maybe I could stream this if I could set up my camera and microphone in a good position to actually capture me doing this. I don't have a lot of room in here either. I don't have the biggest room here. I don't even know if I have room to play it. That's the bad thing about Kinect, is you need a lot of room. Here's a pretty good game that I just checked out this past year, and that's Cameo. This game was one, I don't know why I hadn't played this before, but this was pretty good. I gotta say, it had a nice charm to it. It was janky for sure, and not everything about it I enjoyed, but for the most part, from a rare kind of 3D platformer, it's definitely fun, and I'm glad I played through that one. Here's a really, really awesome game, and this is the complete edition. That's LA Noire, because it has like, you know, multiple discs and stuff in there. Really cool little slipcase. Man, this is such a cool game. When this came out, this revolutionized like facial capturing in video games. I think the way the emotions and the different you know, animations that they had. Really, really cool game from Rockstar. Probably my favorite game that Rockstar's ever done that I've played, maybe, I would say, on the top of my head. Here's a RPG, The Last Remnant from Square Enix. Haven't checked this out yet, but, you know, can't go wrong with having some more Square Enix RPGs. Here's a series that I'm sure everybody likes that has played it, and that is Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2. I think I actually like Left 4 Dead 2 more because I do like the dynamic of having a melee weapon. I really like that. That's the one thing that the first game's lacking. The level design and the characters are great in both games, but I do like the second game more just because of the fact that there's melee attacks. So that's my take on that. Both great games though. Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy. That was a thrift store pickup. Another quality game, Lollipop Chainsaw. This is a hell of a fun game. Kind of an arcade feel to it. Yeah, it's just a really fun playthrough, goofy game. You don't have to take too seriously. Just a super, super fun video game that they don't really make stuff like that anymore. Here is a top tier 360 game for me, and probably my favorite dungeon crawling type of game of all time. I mean, if not one of my favorites, right up there with like Gauntlet Legends on the Dreamcast. I can't speak highly enough of this game, and that is Lord of the Rings War in the North. Another overlooked game that not a lot of people talk about, but this is a fantastic dungeon crawling RPG set in the Lord of the Rings universe. The combat gameplay is so amazing. The graphics, just, oh my gosh, I don't. This is just a perfect video game for me. I've played through it a couple times, including one on the channel, and it just never gets old. It's a co-op game, so you can play 2 players split screen. Online, you could have done 3 players, or even System Link. I think you can do 3 players. So I don't know why they didn't make it 4 players, but anyways, it's still just a really, really good game, and I recommend this to everybody who likes their dungeon crawlers, or even Lord of the Rings. Here's a great RPG, Lost Odyssey. This was another recommendation from the viewers, and I love this game. I would have finished it already, but my 4th disc does not work. The first 3 discs worked, and I got the disc 4, and it doesn't work. So I have to get either a digital version of the game to continue it, or I just gotta like rebuy maybe the 4th disc to finish it up, because I was really loving this game. It's a phenomenal game with amazing cutscenes, and there's a lot to this RPG. It's pretty epic, I gotta say. It's an RPG that everybody should play. Here's a thrift store pickup, Madden 07 Hall of Fame edition. I haven't checked this out yet, but I think that this old Madden probably pretty good. Here's that word again, hidden gem, guys. And it's Majin or Mahin and the Forsaken Kingdom. This is a wonderful adventure puzzle action game where you kind of control 2 characters at times. Such a charming game. This is one my brother got for me, I think for Christmas one year. And I was like, oh, what is this game? I didn't really know much about it at the time. Like, I knew it existed, but I didn't really know much about it. And I gotta say, Andrew, what a great buy, great gift, because this turned out to be a really great game that I finished. And yeah, if you like kind of like adventure puzzle games with some action to it as well, you gotta check this out. Really cool story. I said this game's full of charm, and definitely something you should check out. There's a little bit of Zelda-isms in it as well. Here's another great dungeon crawler RPG, Ultimate Alliance 2. Can't go wrong with this one. Many hours spent in this game too. 4 players, co-op. I mean, again, they gotta make games like these again that have 4-player split screen. Come on. I know they have the power to do it. Why is everything gotta be online? Make local co-op games again. Like that. Alright, moving on. We still got plenty to go through, guys. Like I said, this is one of my largest. My Xbox One collection, which is obviously the next one that you guys will see, is my biggest collection in my library. So here we have Mass Effect 2. This is a wonderful, wonderful game. I played a little bit of Mass Effect. I never really got into the first one, and this one came out, and I fell in love with this one. And I played it all the way through. Thought it was phenomenal. And I did play a little bit of the third one, but never finished it. But this one was so freaking good. I do got to pick up the first one again and give it another try. And here is Mass Effect 3 as well. Here is a decent rail shooter, Men in Black Alien Crisis. Kind of a frustrating game at times, but overall not too bad of a rail shooter, I guess. I do like my rail shooters. This one, I guess, kind of scratched that itch. Wasn't the worst thing I played, but here's a thrift store pickup that I haven't even tried yet, Midnight Club Los Angeles. So we'll see if that one's any good. Here is a janky-ass dungeon crawling horror game that I really, really like, actually, and that's Monster Madness, Battle for Suburbia. A lot of people watched my playthrough of this on YouTube for some reason, but here it is. This is a 4-player co-op game. I played a lot of this with my friend and one of my brothers growing up. And like I said, this is so charming. If you like, horror games and dungeon crawling games, definitely check this out. It comes with even a comic in here, which is pretty cool, and then a full manual. Yeah, I don't know. It has the jankiest gameplay, but for some reason I really like this game. It's so goofy and fun. I love the level design, and there's so many different enemies too. It's actually quite impressive how many enemy types are in the game. There's fun characters, and I don't know, it's just, there's something about this game that I really, really love, making it like one of my, another one of my top probably dungeon crawling type of games, because it is really, really fun. Janky cell, really hard to get through by yourself, but definitely a fun game. Here is my favorite Mortal Kombat game, and that is Mortal Kombat 9, the complete edition. Man, this is such a good game. I love the whole tag team aspect to this. I think it's just so well done. The gameplay is just great, and probably one of my more favorite fighting games. Probably top 10 I've ever played. I do like the Mortal Kombat versus DC game too, but I do not have that anymore. Sadly, I gotta pick that one up again. Here's NBA Live 07 with Tracy McGrady on the cover. We have a phenomenal football game, NCAA Football 14. I still play this to the day. Many hours put into this game. I have a series on this on my YouTube going with a college. So we're trying to win a national championship. We've done 2 seasons so far. Presentation, atmosphere, gameplay, phenomenal in this game. So much depth to it. This also goes for a pretty penny because it is the newest college football game. They are making another one, I believe, but man, this is such a good game. And if they make, with the new college football game coming out, I hope it lives up to this one, because this one was just so freaking good. So much stuff that you can do in this game when doing your dynasty. And that's such a good game. Here's another really good sports game. One of my favorite from the NHL series from EA, and that's NHL 13. This is a phenomenal game with my boy Claude Giroux on the front. Got to represent the Flyers. You got the outdoor game in this one. I just really like the gameplay from this one. I think they nailed the gameplay in this one, and I really, really enjoy it. I got this game for $1, so you can't go wrong with that. Next we have a decent little beat 'em up, and that's Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So everybody knows the Turtles beat 'em ups are pretty much king. This is another one that kind of goes under the radar. This is a beat 'em up. It's not the best thing, like it's a little stiff and not as good as like all the other Turtles beat 'em ups, but it's definitely worth playing through. It's after this Nickelodeon show. And the graphics are pretty decent. It's a little more monotonous than some other beat 'em ups, I think, but definitely, if you like beat 'em ups, you like the Turtles, definitely worth checking out. It's a fun little playthrough, for sure. Next we have a thrift store, I think, pickup, or did I get this from a game shop? I don't remember. Ninja Gaiden 2. Now this was kind of like a reboot of the series. I haven't played the first in the series, and I haven't checked this one out yet. I've heard these are good, but super, super hard, so I don't know. A little daunting to maybe try it, but I'm definitely going to try it sometime. Here is another phenomenal game, and probably a hidden gem for me. Pinball Hall of Fame, the Williams Collection. This is the best pinball game I've ever played. I absolutely love this game. Put a lot of hours into this with my friend. I have streamed this before. It's got all original Williams tables. And what makes this game so good is not only the gameplay, because the physics are just spot on for pinball. I myself grew up with pinball machines in my basement, so I know pinball, and I know how it feels to play pinball, and this captures it very well. It's one of my favorite things to do in the arcade is play pinball, and this game nails it. And the best part, though, is not only the gameplay, but the aesthetic of the game. It puts you in a first-person perspective in this arcade on the corner of a street, lit up at night as if the arcade's inviting you in to come in and play some pinball. So you kind of go around the arcade and find a table that you want to play, and you go in and play it. And it's so awesome. I love that whole aspect of it with music playing. It brings you into makes you feel like you're in the arcade going to play some pinball. And for that, it makes it just a phenomenal game. That's a top 200 game of all time for me. Really, really great. Here's another great game, Plants vs. Zombies, the original one in its physical form, the tower defense kind of game. This is just such a fun game, co-op especially, to play on this one. You can't go wrong with this. It's a classic. Here is one of my favorite first-person shooters of all time, kind of the game that got me into FPSs, if I'm being honest, and that's Prey. A launch title for the 360, at least I think it was a launch title. When I played this game, it really wowed me. It felt so next gen to me at the time, and the mechanics were really cool. I thought it was just a very cinematic experience. If you like Doom or Quake, you'll probably really love this game. I recommend it every time I play a first-person shooter, it seems like. But yeah, just a phenomenal game. I love this one. It still holds up really well. Again, like, I grew up playing a lot of first-person shooters, so when this game came out, I kind of like, kind of turned me on to that type of game. And I've been into first-person shooters ever since. Thanks to that one. Alright, let's get into more and more games here. We still have another stack and a bit to go through. Here's a series that is very dear to me. I've probably talked about it already, I think, with the original Xbox video, and that's the Pro Evolution Soccer series. PES 2008 with Cristiano Ronaldo. Put so many hours into that when it came out. The edit mode and just playing games. PES 2009. Again, these are all great games. Let me move this stack over here. Guys, thank you for sitting through these too, anybody that does. I know it can be a bit to sit through, and hopefully you're enjoying these. PES 2010. What I like about some of these older PES games too is the gameplay is very different from one to the next. Like 10 and 11 are like completely different. And then 11 to 12 completely changes it up too, but they stick with the core aspects of it, changing it up for the better. PES 2012. And probably the best PES game on the 360, PES 2013. Arguably the best PES game of all time right here. This is a really great game that I've put a lot of time into. I would love to stream this and do a series on this game because I have a lot of nostalgia. I remember the night this game came out. So when this game came out is when Skyrim launched. So I remember going to GameStop at midnight to pick up this and Skyrim, bringing them home and playing them both that night and just enjoying them. I know my brother also picked up this and Skyrim as well. So we got home. It was one of those midnight gaming sessions. I remember checking out both games and just loving them both so much. Yeah, man, this is great time. This is probably one of my favorite PES games, if not my favorite one. And then PES 2014, which I got a bit when this came out. It took me a bit to kind of like get into this one because this one's completely different from 13. It's like night and day. They used a new engine in this game, so it was kind of like transitioning to the next gen for like PES 2015 and stuff. But I ended up really liking this game once I figured out the controls and the gameplay more, and I ended up really liking this one. I think this is still a good game, even though people say this is a horrible game. I do like it. I do like it a bit. And my friend and I, we put a lot of time into that one, and they all enjoyed it. Next we have Project Gotham Racing 3, really good racing game on the 360. I used to just throw this on, listen to my Zune, yes I had a Zune, through the 360 and just drive around in that game. Next we have Quake 4, pretty good first person shooter. Don't know that I've ever finished this one, but I'll have to do that. Here's a pretty cool game. This is Rage, the Anarchy Edition, the nice slipcase. I haven't beaten this game. I did play a bunch of it when it came out, but I've never finished it, so I'll have to maybe get around to finishing that. Great graphics in that game. Here's Red Dead Redemption, another game that I need to put more time into. I never finished this one either. There were so many big games back in the day that I never finished. This was one of them. We'll have to sit down and play it. I've not played any of the second one yet either. Here's another hidden gem, and that is Remember Me from Capcom. So this game is a kind of an action, sci-fi kind of game. Really good graphics. Takes place in a futuristic Paris, so the scenery is just beautiful. I really want to check out this game again and stream it for you guys because I've been wanting to play through this again so badly. The combat's interesting. It's kind of like a rhythm game in a sense, but it works so well. And I'm not even a fan of rhythm games. They're probably one of my least favorite genres, but I like the way it works in this game, and the exploration's a lot of fun. There's like a really cool story, like kind of you kind of manipulate some memories and stuff. So yeah, really cool game. I highly recommend that one from Capcom. Another one that kind of just nobody really talks about anymore that I think deserves some more limelight. I've got a couple Resident Evil games. Resident Evil 5, I have played a bit of this with my brother. Really good Resident Evil game. I'll have to stream that at some point. Again, Resident Evil 6, only played a little bit of this with one of my brothers, and I actually really liked it. Looking forward to checking out the whole game for myself. And then we have a really good Resident Evil game, Operation Raccoon City. Yeah, different from the other ones. It's a third-person shooter action game, compared to the other survival horror games. But this is a really fun game. I finished this one up in Zeroine recently, and I really liked it. Operation Raccoon City. I don't know, how revered that is from the Resident Evil community, but I really like that game. Next we have some RPGs. We got Risen. So this is a game I had back in the day, and it was really hard for me. And again, I was kind of new to RPGs, like playing them, because this is again around the time where I started getting into RPGs. So I ended up trading it or something, but I did rebuy it. It's not an expensive game. I can't wait to actually revisit this series because I think I'm really gonna like it now. And it has a really fat manual, which is really cool. So I love games with big manuals that you can refer to if you need to. So I'll have to sit down and get into Risen. And I picked this up as well, Risen 2, so we'll have to play that one. I haven't played this one at all. What seems cool about this one, it's more of a pirate-themed one, so that could be really awesome. And this game comes with a map and a manual in Spanish as well. As well as one in English, so that's like the special edition, so that's pretty cool. So we'll have to check out Risen series. I don't have the third one yet, but I want to get the third one because there is a third one. Here's a really cool game, Sacred 2. I remember playing a lot of this back in the day when this came out. I'm looking forward to revisiting this, maybe finishing it up at some point, because I don't think I ever beat this one either, but did put a lot of hours into this. This is kind of like a Diablo fantasy style action dungeon crawling RPG, if you must. Those kind of elements to it. A little bit of Baldur's Gate in there, I guess. Guess what, guys? There's another hidden gem, another really great game. Shaun White Skateboarding. My goodness, have I put a lot of hours into this game. When I first played through this, I would sit down and just play and play and play, skate around. This is my favorite skateboarding game of all time. It's just, I think the level design is phenomenal, and the gameplay is so fun. The colors are great. The soundtrack is great. I mean, I played through this again on the channel this past year, and it held up so well. Oh man, so fun. Great nostalgia for this. If you like skateboarding games, this is a must-play. It is fantastic. Here is another great game, Silent Hill Downpour. One of the ones that people didn't really like that much, but I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite Silent Hill games, in all honesty, that I've played. I liked it when it came out, because I got it when it came out, and replaying it again held up just as well. I think the atmosphere is great. I think the gameplay is a lot of fun, and it's just I think it's just a great game. I don't know. I don't see what the big deal is about it that people don't like. Next, we have another pretty hidden gem game, and that's Singularity from Activision. A first-person game, a first-person shooter. Some interesting mechanics in that one. Not bad. Here is the aforementioned Skyrim. Now, this is not my copy I had when the game first came out. I actually traded Skyrim in, stupidly, because I, back in the day, in the 360 era especially, I traded in some games because I wanted to get new ones coming out, so that helped pay for it. But I did rebuy Skyrim. I'm kind of glad I rebought it because I found this edition for like $6 in a store, and I thought this was so awesome. Check out this edition of Skyrim, guys. It looks like a book sitting on the shelf. So this is what it is, and it's obviously the 360 version. And then it slips out, and then inside has a bonus disc, I think is a soundtrack or something. Then this really awesome map with the manual and everything. It's like a very thick, almost like a table mat, or, tablecloth map here. So it's a really nice material on there, and it comes with, I think that's a soundtrack. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't actually used it yet, but so when we sit down and play Skyrim, guys, we're gonna get the full experience. And I do plan on streaming Skyrim and starting a series on it someday when I have time to just sit down and get involved in this one. Because I didn't really get too far in this game ever, so I'm excited to actually just give it a full experience. And I want to play it on the 360, like a launch edition version of it. I don't want to play a remastered version with 1,000 mods or anything like that. You guys know me, I like to experience games the original way if I can, and I think it'll be best for me to enjoy the game in the edition that it came out on, so, because this is released on every single freaking console at this point. But this is how it started. That's how I want to experience it when I do finish it. Skyrim, so we'll have that nice map to look at when we play it. Here's another favorite of mine on 360, Sleeping Dogs. My goodness, I 100% of this game. Put so many hours into this one. This is another underrated game, I think. Open world city game, kind of like a GTA, but it takes place in China, and I think the gameplay is phenomenal. This city is so fun to explore. One of my favorite open world games to explore, really. I still throw it on time to time, just looking around the city. I'll have to start a new game and stream it someday, because I would love to replay this game, because it is really good. I always wish that would get a sequel. It was supposed to back in the day, but they kind of scrapped it, unfortunately. Next we have Sneak King, the Burger King game. Yep, Sneak King, ridiculous game. Now we have Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing with Banjo-Kazooie. So this is a really good kart racer. If you like Mario Kart, you'll really enjoy this game. I think this game is a lot of fun. Probably one of the better kart racers that ever came out, honestly. And I like this version. I had to buy this one at Best Buy because Best Buy was selling this version with Banjo-Kazooie. You could only get it there, so obviously I went to Best Buy because I gotta have Banjo-Kazooie in my game. So there we go. And then the much inferior Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform. This isn't a bad game, but I don't know, something about this one I did not like as much as the other one. It's just, maybe the transformation stuff was kind of weird. The gameplay wasn't as good. You do have Danica Patrick and Wreck-It Ralph in the game, which is kind of cool. It's still a good game worth playing, but man, the first one's more of a straight up kart racer and more fun, I think. Here's a good first-person shooter, Syndicate from EA. Graphics are amazing. Gameplay is really good. If you like first-person, futuristic sci-fi shooters, then man, you gotta check out Syndicate. Really good game. We got a great fighter, Soul Calibur 4, with Yoda in it on the 360. Great game. Here's a RPG that I've only played a little bit of. This is one my brother had growing up, and I since picked it up. We'll have to really sit down and play it sometime. Tales of Vesperia. I remember what I've played of it, I really enjoyed. I love the graphic style of this one too, so it's gonna be awesome. Alright, oof, my goodness, this is a 10 out of a 10 game, a game I fell in love with. This is an all-timer, and that's Tomb Raider. The reboot of Tomb Raider from Square Enix. I love this new series that they did of 3 games. Still hoping they make another one, but my goodness, this game is so freaking good. Absolutely love this game. Probably my favorite of the 3 new ones still. I'll have to stream this one too. I remember 100%ing this game when it came out because I just got so invested and lost in this game. I was immersed in it, and man, just a great game. 10 out of 10 for sure. So we have Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Double Agent. This was a thrift store pickup, a little Tom Clancy game. Here is Too Human. I haven't checked this one out yet. I think this was an early 360 title. And a phenomenal RPG. Yeah, you heard it here, folks. Phenomenal. Two Worlds, the collector's edition, with a tabletop RPG type of game that you can play, like instructions, a manual. There's a map in there. There's all sorts of goodies in there in this collector's edition. You know, I figured if I was going to sit down and play 2 Worlds, I might as well get the collector's edition and fully immerse myself. And I really, really like this game. Yes, it's janky. Yes, the frame rate sucks. Yes, it's ridiculous, but I gotta say, for an RPG, it nails all the aspects that you want out of an RPG. You know, the open worldness of it, the exploration, the leveling up, all the different, you know, enemy types, stuff like that. There's, you know, I just really enjoyed my experience with it. I thought it was hilarious. A lot of funny moments. And, yeah, I don't know. I think it's really good. The second one, however, which I'll show you guys in a moment right here. We're almost done. We're almost done. Absolutely sucks. I hate this game. See, I was expecting to like this one maybe even more than the first one, because, like, how could they make it worse? Well, they did. This one's more linear. I hate the combat more in this game. For some reason, this game's just, like, worse for me. It's not as open, and it's like more like sandbox areas that you go to. I can't stand, like, the boss fights, especially the final boss or whatever. It's so stupid. I do not like this one at all. Like, I tried to get into it, but I couldn't. I did finish it, but man, the first one's just so much better. I don't know. It's crazy, but I love 2 Worlds. And now next up, guys, is actually my favorite RPG ever. Yes, this is my favorite RPG, a hidden gem, a not very much talked about game, a game you could probably get on not only 360, but the PS3 and on PC, I believe, too. So definitely check this one out, and that is Venetica. This is the game that really got me kind of involved with RPGs, you know, for good now, because I hadn't really played a lot of RPGs on my own. I just tried out a few, but when this one came out, I think did I pre-order this game? I don't remember. Remember when it was coming out, I thought, oh, that looked cool. And yeah, it's very janky. It's not going to wow you like a Final Fantasy or some kind of Bandai Namco RPG. It doesn't have that kind of polish. It's more of an indie title. But I love this game so much. In fact, this could even almost be a top 10 game of all time for me. Almost. I don't even know. Maybe it would be. That's how much I like this game. I've played through it a couple times. I did it on the channel, and I loved it every time. It's got such a charm to it. There's just the charm. I love the areas that you explore. The story is kind of cool. I love the character of Scarlet. So it's just, I don't know, it's just such a charming game. Great music and janky NPCs walking around. Funny dialogue. There's just something about this game that draws me in and just hooked me. And man, I truly love this game. And if you like RPGs, you know, take a chance on this one. Pick it up, sit down on a weekend one of these times, and or when you got some time off, and check it out, because I think you'll like it. Next we have Viking Battle for Asgard. I have no idea what this game is like. I haven't seen gameplay or anything. So I got this one at a GameStop, so I have no idea. But I love the cover of it, so it was a few dollars. Here's a really fun wrestling game, WWE All-Stars. This is an arcadey, over-the-top wrestling game with like funny character models, but super fun. My goodness, this is a really fun wrestling game. If you don't want to take it too seriously, just throw that in. Next we have The Walking Dead Survival Instinct. I know this game was canned. Everybody hated this game, but you know what? When I played it, I didn't hate this game, honestly. I thought it was pretty cool. It captured the spirit of The Walking Dead decently enough. You know, it's got Norman Reedus, his likely a likeness in it, and his voice acting. It's a first-person game, kind of stealth action first-person shooter. I don't think the level design's that bad. Like, it's kind of fun to walk around and get by the zombies in this game. I'd like to replay this one. Yeah, it's not bad. It's really not that bad of a game. People hate it, but I think it's pretty good. If you like The Walking Dead, check it out. Here's another hidden gem, and one that I think people should check out. X-Men Destiny, a really good X-Men game. An action game with like multiple characters that you can play as. and there's different like upgrades that you can get. So it makes like a new playthrough kind of different when you get different upgrades. I really like this game. Not a very long game either. You can sit down and play it probably in a night or two. My friend and I used to play this together, even though it's one player. We would like pass the controller back and forth, taking on different sections of the game, and we loved it. X-Men Destiny. A couple more games and we're done. U-Star 2 in the movies for the Kinect. This is a funny game where it captures you and puts you in movies and scenes from shows and different movies. It's pretty funny. Like, I've had my fun with that game with my friend and my brother. But this game's even better. This is you're in the movies. This one required the Xbox 360 camera, not the Kinect. And you would definitely play like these stupid, goofy mini games. It would capture your image of you doing silly things like that, doing these mini games, and then it would put you into a movie preview, and you don't even know what it's going to be. You don't even know what moments it's going to capture. So you kind of just pick a role for the movie, and then you play these mini games, and it takes sections of that and puts it into the preview, and it's hilarious. My friend and I have played this a lot. You do need like a kind of like projection screen behind, which we did have at the time, to kind of, I guess a wall would work too, but yeah, it is hilarious the way it like kind of projects you into these movies and stuff. We got many hours out of this, but it got to the point where my friend and I wouldn't even do what the mini games were telling us to do, because it doesn't matter if you win them or not. We would just use ridiculous props and do stupid motions just to see how it would be implemented into the movie, and it made for some really hilarious reveals as we finally watched the movie preview at the end. Like, we would just kind of just completely lost the plot and wouldn't even focus on the mini games. We would just literally do ridiculous things in front of the camera and let it record us to put it into the movie preview. Oh, fun times, guys. I can't say how many times I cried laughing playing that game. So I do have a few of those up on the channel, I believe, underneath my You're in the Movies playlist. I think I put a few of the movies that we had done on there. Alright. And last, I just have a few special edition games to show you guys that were kind of like displayed on my shelf, so I pulled them out. Forza Motorsport 3 Complete Collector's Edition. This is really cool. This is another one I found for a couple bucks. It's really awesome. It has a slip thing, and look, check out this. So it opens up, and as it falls out, so it has like a weird case here, but it has like a DVD or something, or disc 2. I guess that's a content install. So it's got the game, the manual, and everything in there. But what's cool is it has this like keychain right there, but also a USB stick, which I find to be very interesting, like a legit USB stick. So I don't know what that's about, but it's kind of cool. A very, very cool special edition, I think, for a game. I'm a sucker for special editions for sure. I don't buy as many as I want to because of how expensive they can be, but some of the ones I do find, I find for cheap, wait for them to go down in price if they're ones that people don't want. But these days you kind of have to pre-order them if you want to get them, because the collectors, they eat up those collector's editions and then they try to flip them for like triple the price, because that's what they do. I like getting the collector's editions because I think it immerses me in the game more, like I feel like I'm more, like when I go to play the game, I'm going to be more into it because I have this awesome collector's edition with these goodies and maybe a map or something that I can physically hold and enjoy the game too. So I think it makes for a better experience overall. That's why I like those collector's editions. Next one we have is Record of Agarist War 0 Limited Edition. So this is one I got for pretty cheap back in the day. Well, not back in the day, but a few years ago. Because I'd heard about this game. I thought it looked interesting. And this was being sold for not that expensive. So I picked this up off eBay, I believe. And this is a really cool edition. So when I sit down to play this game, which I still haven't, but I will someday when the time is right, I'm going to really enjoy it because I got like all these goodies. So you have the physical game itself with the full manual and everything. We have this awesome like box art like all over it too. Then also inside you have a character data guide So let me see if I can show you guys. So it's got stats on all the different characters. It's got like artwork and everything. So it's pretty awesome. It also has a soundtrack CD. And then maybe the coolest part of this has this case right here that opens up, and inside, more cool artwork, are sitting some playing cards. So there's like actual playing cards in here. So that's just really cool. Like, what an awesome like addition of the game, you know? If that doesn't make you want to play the game, then what will, you know? So be excited to sit down. I think it's a long game. That's kind of why I haven't started it yet, but it is, I think it's like an action strategy game, like kind of like RPG. I think there's a lot of like dialogue in the game too and stuff. But anyways, that is the last thing I think I had to show you guys. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. That is all my 360 games. This was over an hour, so thank you for sitting through this and for joining me on this journey. Coming up next will be my Xbox One collection, my biggest library that I own. But appreciate all of you so much. Thanks for the support on the channel. Till next time, 0 is the number.